That's right. The only thing more American than this video is a great big bowl of spaghetti. Wait, no, a great big pizza. Yeah, pizza. Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Tom's Hit Parade. By the way, I invite you to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like what you see, share this video with your friends, and leave me your thoughts down in the comment section. Do it for your country. So before we go any further, first things first, I'd like to wish my fellow Americans out in YouTube land a happy Independence Day, for those of you who choose to celebrate it. And if you don't, that's fine. Freedom is what America's all about, remember. And those of you who are my longtime viewers might recall that I have never done, at least I don't think I have, unless my memory is failing me, which is entirely possible. I don't think I've ever done a 4th of July video. Not for any particular reason. I don't dislike the holiday. It's just, frankly, I'm not one of those super patriotic people. And before I catch the ire of any conservatives out there, that doesn't mean that I hate America. I love America. I love the promise and potential of America. Let's put it that way. Some of the things that have been happening in America lately, especially up at the higher levels, have been disappointing me, deeply disappointing me. And as any parent out there knows, you can be deeply disappointed in your child, but you can still love them very, very deeply. That's how I feel about America. So anyway, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about, as you might have been able to tell by the title was a little bit cryptic. I decided, since this is the 250th anniversary of America, something that doesn't happen very often, I thought I would make a video about it. I'd, make an exception and do a video. And I came up with the idea. The idea was originally my favorite 25 quintessentially American artists. But as I was compiling the list, I had to make some brutal, brutal cuts that I did not want to make. And it was just getting aggravating, really. And, some might argue that the shorter the list you make and the more brutal the cuts are, the more meaningful the list is. But this was taking things a little bit too far, I think. So I decided to expand the list to 50 items or 50 artists. And I guess that kind of, in a way, that makes a little more sense. 25 is 1/10 of 250, 25 to 50. That kind of makes sense. But on the other hand, we have 50 states in our union. Plus, the title 50 for 250 is catchier. So yes, I decided to make it 250 artists. And yes, a couple of criteria about the list I wanted to get into before we get started here. First of all is the obvious one. It's in the title, or it's in the subtitle of the list, if you will. My quintessentially American artists and performers of all time. So anybody who's not born in the United States of America is out. And bands, in the case of bands, they have to have been formed in the United States, and the majority of their members have to have been born in the States. That last qualifier actually did not come into play while I was assembling the list. So, but yes, you won't see the Beatles, the Stones, Fleetwood Mac, the Led Zeppelin, the Who. Any of those artists are not going to be here. It's going to be strictly American artists. And yes, what was the other qualifier? Oh yes, I wanted to keep the list with artists that I have in my collection somewhere. So yes, there are going to be some artists that should have been on this list, but I just don't have any of their music. I just feel that things shouldn't be on one of my lists unless I own music by them. It's just a thing of mine, a limitation that I put in place. So blame me if you don't find your favorite on this list. So, and I also wanted to, with this list, I wanted to have an equal balance of, well, first of all, as equal or representative a spread through time. So I wanted to go back as far as I could to the very building blocks of the musical DNA of America, if you will. So way back to the beginning, all the way up to the 21st century. The 21st century occupies what 1/10 of America's lifetime. So that's it's unfair to leave them out. 21st century artists out. But also, I wanted to try and get as representative a ratio compared with music as a whole of gender and race, gender and color represented. So I didn't want to have an overrepresentation of whites or blacks or women or men. So I hope that I have pretty much. I will confess that I used Google AI to kind of help me, you check my list, see if I was missing anybody that I was stupid enough to miss. And it turns out that I was missing one person. It was, you know, sometimes I'm not all there. Let's face it. But I also, also to make sure that I was getting a good cross section of everything, the representative the right way. So I believe I have accomplished that. I would be surprised if you have not heard of any of the artists in this list. And one other thing, I wanted to have an equal balance of um, influence. How influential they were in the history of music going forward from their period, as well as um, popularity and name recognition. So, influence and popularity, I wanted to have an equal balance of them. So, some of the more popular artists I discarded in favor of artists that had more influence, and the other way around. So, uh, the list is not perfect. Neither am I. Neither is America. And I'll leave that statement as it is. But anyway, yes, I think I have got. I think I got all the points covered that I wanted to cover. And I did want to put in. I had to put in a little bit of me, a little bit of my musical tastes. So some of these, or well, one or two of these, you might roll your eyes at and think that it was a little crazy, but that's me. As I said, it's my list. So yeah, I think that's it. And I decided on 50 artists, and I will be presenting these artists in chronological order, approximately from the very beginning up to the most recent artist. And I've got 50 artists, and I've got 10 honorable mentions, and those are behind me here. I had them listed in alphabetical order, but they're just kind of randomly placed. We got Quincy Jones, Little Richard, Jimi Hendrix, Billy Joel, The Doors, and I actually put these two on one CD. Oh no, that's Bon Jovi, sorry. And then these two I put on one CD, represented by one CD. Dave Brubeck and Tony Bennett. We've got James Taylor and the Mamas and the Papas. So yes, those are artists I had to cut from the list. So so let me take a quick drink of water here first. So yeah, I hope I have done the music world justice in this list. I don't think you'll have much of a problem with any artists that I included. As I said, you might have gripes about artists that I had to leave out, but that was for for technical reasons and not for spite. Well, some artists I just don't care for, and which is why I don't have them in my collection, which is one reason, which was one criteria. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with my list of the quintessentially American music acts of all time. Okay, kicking off the list, we are going, as I said, all the way back to the very beginnings of when the United States was starting to establish its musical identity from the very beginning. We have John Philip Sousa. This is, I think, the only Sousa compilation I have. And ironically, I think it's from a British band. I know. It is what it is. But yes, as you know, John Philip Sousa composed the marches that are heard at military celebrations, patriotic events, the throughout the country, over and over again. You heard his "Stars and Stripes Forever" in my opening. I decided to substitute my regular opening music with something more patriotic, so that's the "Stars and Stripes Forever." And there is one ironic thing here is, which composition is it? I think it is the Liberty Bell. I believe it is actually was borrowed as the theme song for the British TV series, sketch comedy series, Monty Python's Flying Circus. So yes, I mean, I guess we came from the British. We separated from the British. So I guess it's only fair that the British borrow back from us every once in a while. But yes, the Washington Post March, King Cotton, the Liberty Bell March, and of course the Stars and Stripes Forever. Yeah, you cannot leave out John Philip Sousa when talking about the musical legacy of America. Definitely worthy of inclusion there. Next up is we're jumping a little bit forward, but not by much. And again, this guy's music has basically been part of America's musical DNA from its inception. Scott Joplin and his piano rags. He composed dozens of piano rags, and they've been heard all over the place, everywhere you go. practically you hear Scott Joplin. Funny enough, though, and yeah, he's perhaps the earliest American artist who was African American. And yes, the funny thing though is though, when he died kind of in obscurity and pretty much penniless, and because his music was pretty much unknown until the 1970s, when the movie The Sting borrowed music from Scott Joplin and repopularized it, brought his music back to the attention of the American public. And so he kind of had a resurgence in the 1970s. So, decades and decades after he wrote all of his famous rags. So, yes, I do love listening to this stuff every once in a while. That old timey rag music is fun stuff to listen to. And yes, definitely part and parcel of America's musical identity. Next up, we have another artist moving slightly forward in time, George Gershwin. Yes, and if you need an argument for his inclusion on this list, I've got 3 words for you: Rhapsody in Blue. Yes, that is one of the compositions. If I were to make a list of individual compositions that define America or America's sound, Rhapsody in Blue would be on the list. It's the first composition that really bridged the gap between, or bridged the dividing line, whatever you want to call it, between classical and jazz. It's got elements of both, and it's quintessentially American. America is a melting pot, so why shouldn't it would only stand to reason that American composers and musicians would make a melting pot out of different musical genres. So yes, hats off to Gershwin for doing that. Porgy and Bess was a kind of a little contemporary opera of sorts that he did, a little mini musical that he did. So yes, and he worked to break down racial barriers, and as did many of the artists in my list. But yeah, George Gershwin, another artist who you can't not have in a list like this. Absolutely not. Next up, continuing along the classical vein, we have Aaron Copland. Yes, the Fanfare for the Common Man, as well as his little opera Rodeo. The song "Hoedown" was used in the commercials advertising beef. The beef farmer or beef ranchers of America. They had ads back in the 90s or 2000s, and they used the song "Hoedown" from Rodeo for their commercials. Yes, there is no classical music more American sounding than Aaron Copland. That is basically what established the American sound in classical music. Westerns and other Americana period movies may have been composed by other composers, but they borrowed very, very heavily from Aaron Copland, borrowed his sound, and yeah, it's like you listen to a Copland composition and you just see in your head backdrops of the American West. It's just undeniable. So yes, another great addition to this list. Now we're starting to move into the more modern eras of music. We're going into some jazz now. Duke Ellington. Yes, he's just one of the great band leaders, the first great band leader, if you will, in the world of jazz. And again, he would, I believe he was he the one that, I have notes here. Was he the one that refused to play to, no, that was somebody else. But yes, I was going to say refused to play to segregated venues, but no, that was somebody else. But still, he established jazz as a legitimate art form, brought it to the attention of wide audiences, and yes, composed so many amazing pieces of music that have become the fabric of American music. It don't mean to think if it ain't got that swing. In a sentimental mood. Uh, Take the A Train, Cottontail, Don't Get Around Much Anymore. So lots of great songs came from Duke Ellington and his band. So great artist there. Next one up is another jazz artist, Louis Armstrong. And one of his great contributions was he's the one that first brought the concept of the soloist into jazz. Before then, it was all about the band. And but yes, he had such a great personality. He would sing, not all that often, but he would sometimes sing. His voice was unmistakable. His trumpet playing was unmistakable. Fantastic artist in the world of jazz. Absolutely essential to American music. Next up, we're moving into the folk music arena. We have Woody Guthrie, the absolute pioneer of American folk music, socially conscious music. And yes, for many years, He had a guitar that had a sticker on it that said, "This machine kills fascists." My kind of guy. Yes, I was actually visited my little brother and little sister, Noah and Alyssa, in Oklahoma a few years back, and went to the Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa. It's a great little museum dedicated to the legacy of Woody Guthrie. Fantastic place. A can't miss stop. It's a must stop if you ever happen to find yourself in Tulsa. Go there. But yes, absolutely. I mean, you hear his songs everywhere. This land is your land. Oh gosh, and then of course I can't find any other ones on this list. My eyes aren't landing on. And it was Hobo's Lullaby, Ramblin' Round. But yes, sang about the Dust Bowl, about workers' rights, about you name it, the struggle of the working class man in the 40s, and so forth. Yeah, Woody Guthrie all the way. He laid the groundwork for Bob Dylan and other folk artists and socially conscious artists after him. So, yeah, unmistakable part of American music. Next up, let's bring on the ladies. So we cannot leave the ladies out of the picture here. The Andrews sisters, the first and most influential or most important close harmony group. They were active in the war years, and they helped to boost the morale of soldiers overseas fighting in World War II. And plus, their sound was pretty much revolutionary for the time. They just had fantastic harmonies, and some of their songs are just have become American standards, jazz standards ever since. Be mir bist du schon means that you're grand. The Beer Bear Polka, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, that was the one of the classic war songs. Rum and Coca-Cola, and hold tight, don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Cannot leave those ladies out of the list. And next up, we have a pretty much one of the foundations of country music. We have Hank Williams. Yes, he's the one that pretty much started it all. He paved the way for Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and all those others to come up after him. But yes, one of the first great storytellers in American music, and that's one of the things that I like about country music is the storytelling aspect of it. It's just wonderful, fantastic, kind of enchanting, something I did not appreciate until the last 15 or so years. But yes, Hank Williams, absolutely essential to the musical identity of the United States. Wonderful, wonderful artist. And then we are getting into some blues. We've got some blues coming up here. We have Muddy Waters. And again, the guy who started it all for everybody from B.B. King, artists to come after him, to all the way up to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and every blues artist in between owes a strong debt to Muddy Waters, one of the very first artists to electrify the blues. Before then, it was pretty much all acoustic. So, but yes, absolutely fantastic artist, and yeah, got to check out Muddy Waters. Even if you're not a blues fan, you got to check out Muddy Waters. He was fantastic and essential to American listening. And then I had to, as I said, I had to touch on every genre in here, so I didn't want to leave out gospel. And yes, gospel is a classically American art form. It was basically formed in America, came out of African American spirituals from the days of when they were before they had freedom. They would sing spirituals out in the fields to try and get themselves through the day and such, and that kind of evolved into gospel music. And there was nobody better than gospel music, in my opinion, than Mahalia Jackson. And yeah, the title says it all: the world's greatest gospel singer. Some fantastic stuff. And gospel, kind of like the blues, is a genre that I did not quite get into until very recently, relatively recently. So, but yes, her voice. I'm not religious, so the lyrics don't do much for me. But it's for me, it's the feeling in the voice, the soul of the singing that kind of is the appeal for me of gospel music. So, but yes, Mahalia Jackson, fantastic gospel artist, the one that broke open the door for the Winans and every other gospel artist since then. And we're kind of moving back to some jazz right now. the first lady of jazz, Ella Fitzgerald. She was one of the first that I thought up when building this list. I could not leave out Ella Fitzgerald. Uh, she she brought again, she brought jazz music, jazz vocals, um, to a wider audience, especially a white audience. She was a regular guest on the Ed Sullivan Show. Ed Sullivan was famous for basically disregarding racial barriers. He would have uh, probably almost as many black artists on his show as white artists. So he did not cotton to the racial the racist people out there who wanted to keep the segregation going and stuff. So yes, Ella Fitzgerald, partly due in to her exposure on the Ed Sullivan Show, is an American treasure. Absolutely, positively, an American treasure. So yes, could not leave her out of the picture. The picture. Drink, excuse me. And yes, this stuff is loosely in chronological order, so I might do some shuffling around a bit. Yes, I'm a little. Yeah, hang on here. Sorry. Trying to do these in as close a chronological order as I can. Next up is an artist who is one of the first to bring world music into pop. He really kind of did that, and I kind of just recently appreciated that about him in listening to his Carnegie Hall albums. It just kind of occurred to me that yeah, he was one of the first people to do that. Harry Belafonte, and yes, I almost didn't put him on my list because I assumed that he was not born in the United States, but he was. He was born to Caribbean parents, I believe, Caribbean immigrant parents. I almost said Caribbean ignorant parents. Okay, maybe I'm a little tired. But anyway, yes, Caribbean immigrant parents. And yes, I mean, the track listing is just full of standards. Deo, the Banana Boat song, uh, Island in the Sun, Mama Loca Boo Boo, uh, Jamaica Farewell, perhaps his best known song, Matilda. Yeah, American music would not be what it is, I don't think, without Harry Belafonte. Definitely wouldn't have as much world music influence as it does now. I mean, think about it. The Latino influence with reggaeton and Caribbean, Colombian. Look at how much world music is in pop music now, and I have to say that I can't believe Harry Belafonte didn't have at least a little something to do with that. So anyway, another artist, next one up on my list, Ray Charles. And yes, again, he was one of the very first that I thought up when putting this list together. Yeah, when you ask someone, when you think about American music, who's the first artist that comes to your mind? And that's what I wanted to accomplish with this list. That's who I wanted to. The names I wanted to fill this list with was, if somebody asked you, when you think of American music, who do you think of? What's the first name that pops in your head? A lot of these names would probably be among them, and Ray Charles certainly. So yes, I could not leave him off the list. He's the first one he's the guy that really gave birth to soul music. He actually injected gospel into rhythm and blues music, and a little bit of and blues into rhythm and blues, like 4 or 5 genres. He's kind of the first one really to sort of blend all that stuff together and come up with what would eventually be called soul music. He is the guy who invented soul. There is no two ways about that. And going backpedaling a little bit to yeah, I'm trying to do this chronologically, but also trying to keep a bit of a flow through genres. So that's easier said than done. But next one up on my list, and again, one that I could not leave off the list, Frank Sinatra. And again, he's probably one of the top 5 that you would say American music. Name the first guy that pops, the first person that pops in your head. Frank Sinatra. Absolutely, definitely. Yes. Too many great songs to mention. I mean, absolutely essential. One of the best interpreters of all time of the Great American Songbook. No question about it whatsoever. Coming up next, yes, Ray Charles was the inventor of soul. This guy was basically the inventor of rock and roll. Chuck Berry. No, not the other guy. He's coming up in a minute. But yes, Chuck Berry really was the first to get that kind of that rockabilly rhythm and apply it to kind of basically to stitch country DNA and rhythm and blues DNA together. That's basically what rock and roll is, honestly, when you think about it. But another one, kind of like Sinatra, his list of music. Although this guy wrote pretty much all of his own songs: Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, rock and roll music, Johnny B. Good. Yeah, the list goes on and on. So yes, and this next artist would not have, perhaps not have uh, come to be without Chuck Berry, and that is, of course, Elvis Presley. So yes, I mean, Elvis is probably the number one that artist that name a person, name a representative of American music. People come up with Elvis Presley. So, but yes, and he needs no introduction. He needs no explanation for why he's on this list. Excuse me. So he's just, yeah, he's on the list and needs to be on the list whether you like it or not. And I've got one artist that's, well, I guess chronologically he's not out of sequence, because he did kind of come in a little bit later than others in the jazz scene, but yes, deserves to be here. He was kind of a pioneer, or he really helped jazz go off in several different directions that are still being practiced now, and that is Miles Davis. Yes, he kind of gave birth to hard bop, fusion jazz, and a couple of other subgenres of jazz that are still going strong today. Yes, I really wanted to put, well, Dave Brubeck, I really wanted to have on this list because I do like his stuff a little more than Miles Davis. But when it came to cultural influence and music influence, I had to put Miles Davis ahead. But because, yeah, he's definitely revolutionary in the field of jazz. Coming up next, another country artist. I don't have two country artists back to back. That's kind of what I was hoping to accomplish. But as I said, it's a lost cause for that. So let's just keep going with the list. Patsy Cline. Yes, without Patsy Cline, you wouldn't have Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire. The list goes on. Maybe you would, but still, I mean, Patsy was a true pioneer of country music. She had a unique style, kind of a unique storytelling style that was, for women, was pretty much non-existent at that time. And she also helped to bring in the Nashville sound into popular country music. So yeah, definitely you cannot escape her influence. Of course, this is the album that did not have her big hits. But yeah, Crazy, which was written by Willie Nelson. And I cannot think of the other big hits that she had. Look them up. She had some great hits. Her career might not have lasted as long as a lot of the other people on this list, but still, her mark was indelible in the world of music. Coming up next here is an artist, and he is more in the world of film music, but it's not the one you're thinking of. But yeah, he's kind of was as much just a popular music artist as he was a known for his film composing. We're talking Henry Mancini. Yes, he had some great hits that were probably some of the most popular songs that became popular outside of their movies, um, since the era of the Hollywood musical back in the 50s. For instance, the Pink Panther theme that is like everywhere. Moon River, the classic pop song, which was from a movie originally, and then we have the Peter Gunn theme. So it's classic. I mean, so much of this stuff. The Baby Elephant Walk, one of my favorite songs of his. So much of this stuff is classic, and recognizable beyond the movies that they came from. So yeah, definitely one of the most popular artists that kind of straddled the line between pop music and movie music. So yes, Henry Mancini. I almost left him off the list. I thought of him last night, actually, as I was going to bed. I thought I could not leave Henry Mancini off the list. Coming up next, you probably knew he was going to be on this list. Bob Dylan. Yes, you cannot talk about American music without talking about Bob Dylan. Absolutely vital to the legacy of America. And yes, he was one of the first people to bring, uh, after Woody Guthrie, one of the first people to bring um, socially conscious lyrics into popular music when he electrified folk music at the Monterey Pop Festival? No, but yeah, when he first electrified folk music, that kind of turned the corner and completely changed music as we know it. So yes, Bob Dylan, his influence on American music cannot be underestimated. Next up, yes, another artist that you can't talk about American music without talking about the Beach Boys. Yeah, and again, you can their list of hits is a mile long, as you can see here. And yes, they totally popularized the surf culture of the 1960s and made hits that we all know today and continue to hear on the radio and wherever we go. Basically, you hear the Beach Boys music. You think about summer, and Beach Boys music is probably some of the first music that comes to your head. Definitely. So, yes, absolutely fantastic stuff. Essential to American listening. And coming up next here, we have another artist. Again, this was kind of like Ella Fitzgerald. This was one of the first artists I thought about when assembling this list. Could not leave her off the list. Aretha Franklin. Yes, what needs to be said about Aretha? Aretha that has not been said. The Queen of Soul, and she earned that name for a very good reason. Just soul tinged with gospel, and an icon of the civil rights movement. Yes, the song "Respect," one of her big hits. Um, "Do Right Woman, Do Right Man," and a couple of her other hits are not on this album. But yes, I do have her greatest hits because I have to. She's that essential to American music. Yes, fantastic singer, powerful voice, and amazing stage presence, and all that. And speaking of a powerful voice and amazing stage presence, James Brown, the Godfather of Soul. So we have two, the Godfather and Queen, right next to each other. Again, he and yes, James Brown first launched or first kind of built a stepping stones at least, or kind of even really started the funk genre. Yes, because his music had such a strong beat. One of the first artists to really capitalize on that heavy funkish beat. He definitely paved the way for Sly and the Family Stone and for the entire disco movement, arguably. So yes, he's the one to blame for that. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, I mean, Papa's got a brand new bag, and say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Uh, Go for it, yeah. Um, but yeah, it's a man's world. A little out of date, that song, but still um, unmistakable the influence that he had on American music. Um, Turning corners here on in terms of genre, we had a few soul and pop artists here. I almost left out this one as well, but I wanted to have some kind of a representation of electronic music, because that, I don't know if it was first started in America, if it was pioneered in the States, but it's become a part of the musical fabric of the States. I mean, so many artists now owe their legacy to the pioneers of electronic music, and this artist was a pioneer in a few different ways. And we're talking Wendy Carlos. I guess this is her album Switched on Bach. Um, yes, the jacket here does say Walter Carlos, but look it up. That's all I'll say about that. And that refers to another aspect of her being a pioneer in other ways. But yes, classical music done by synthesizer. Yes, she put out a few albums of this regard. She also delved into movie soundtracks. So yeah, I guess I have more than two artists on my list who uh, partook of movie soundtracks: A Clockwork Orange and the original Tron. She did the music for those movies. But yes, definitely pioneered, paved the way for EDM artists. You could say she helped pave the way for them. And yes, so yes, Wendy Carlos definitely on my list of artists. Yes, perhaps one of the less recognizable names, but in my opinion, for my list, she is vital, a vital inclusion that I can't believe I almost forgot to include. Then we have another artist here who's much more well known and is obviously an absolutely essential part of American music, Johnny Cash. I've got a few of his albums, but I decided to hedge my bets and show his essential. Yes, groundbreaking in so many ways in popularizing country music, bridging it with rock music. And he's perhaps the first artist to record albums for audiences in prison. So yes, probably a few different. I'm sure he broke several barriers. I don't need to explain, really, do I? His importance and his need to be on this list. Just absolutely fantastic artist. And when you think America, you probably think Johnny Cash. And another artist here. This was one of my inclusions. Um, Although he is definitely a big part of American music, and some people would argue that he is not to be left off a list like this. B.B. King. Yes, it was not the first blues artist, was not the first artist to electrify the blues, but he was one of the first artists to use the guitar in the way that he did. He made the guitar sing like a vocalist. The bending the strings, the vibrato, and all that stuff was pretty much pioneered by B.B. King. And one of my favorite guitarists, perhaps my favorite guitarist on this list. My sister loved B.B. King, and that's one reason I love him so much. That it's just he was an absolute guitar master. I almost gave him up for Jimi Hendrix, but purely on on technicality, I left him because his career lasted longer. You could say, it's technicality, and it wasn't Jimi Hendrix's fault that his career didn't last longer. Let's face it. But still, yeah, this was one of the ways in which I tweaked the list to my preferences. So this one's my fault. But yes, B.B. King, absolutely, in my opinion, essential part of American music. And then we have another artist here. I wanted to give some representation to Motown, and I actually have two artists that they did work in Motown, and they kind of had two different musical identities, so to speak. This artist and one that's coming up later. So in a way, I'm kind of representing both career eras when I mention these artists. The first one is Diana Ross. So yes, Diana Ross and the Supremes were one of the essential artists from the Motown era. They had so many fantastic hits, but Diana Ross had an amazing solo career as well. So yes, kill two birds with one stone, I guess you'd say. But yes, and Diana was uh, an icon to the LGBTQ community. She did a song called "I'm Coming Out," which was not meant as an LGBTQ anthem, but it kind of became one, and so she just kind of became, um, you know, without asking to be, I guess, a bit of an ambassador or an icon to the gay community. So, but yes, so many other great hits. Besides that, one of my favorite songs is the last track on here, "Upside Down," and just yes, and do you know where you're going to? I think is what it was called, and so many great songs, and the theme from Mahogany, and so many other. So, or were those, was that the same song? Was "Do You Know Where You're Going to" the theme from Mahogany? I can't remember. Anyway, I have a Supremes album. I have a Diana Ross and the Supremes Greatest Hits, and I have this one here. So yes, Diana Ross is definitely a should be included on the American Music Hall of Fame, if you will. So, yes, a fantastic artist in both phases of her career. Next one, I almost took her off the list just because her influence was 50% maybe. This album, Carole King, her album Tapestry is an absolute classic. It's a must-have album for anybody who loves music. I mean, pretty much every song on here was a hit single, but she also, with her first husband or original husband Jerry Goffin, wrote many hits for pop artists back in the 60s. So yes, so that was half of her legacy, and in a way, this one album, was the other half of her legacy. But yes, she just so many great hits. I mean, her songwriting legacy for that deserves to be on this list, um, in my opinion. So yes, now that I think about it, I'm glad I did not bump her from the list. So she is definitely a vital inclusion on here. Now this next artist is another one that I almost left off the list, um, just because of she wasn't really groundbreaking in the type of music she sang or in her writing. She really didn't do a whole lot of writing. at least not in the first part of her career. Um, so I almost left her off the list, but then in reading up on her, she kind of brought a theatricality to the art of singing that no artist really had before. And we're talking Barbra Streisand. So, yeah, when I think about it, when I like watch her performances on like the Ed Sullivan Show and stuff like that, it makes sense that, yeah, she did kind of bring a grandiosity, a diva like quality. She was the first diva, pop diva, if you will. I mean, I'm sure without her, there probably would not have been a Celine Dion, and several other artists like that may not have had the careers that they've had without Barbra Streisand. So, in retrospect, I'm glad that I included her on the list. Uh, Plus, just the magnitude of her fame, you know, wherever you go, you say somebody the name Barbra Streisand, they'll recognize it. So, yeah, I guess that's a justification for her being on the list. This next one was a bit of an oddity, kind of like Wendy Carlos, but he was kind of a pioneer in what he did and the uh, new kind of dimension that he brought to music. We're talking Frank Zappa. Yes, he kind of brought this avant-garde mixing of pretty much every genre you can think of into rock music. He mixed jazz and weird rhythms and counterpoints and maybe even a little bit of world music. There's really esoteric, weird stuff into rock music, and somehow he pulled it off and became a cultural icon, basically. Uh, Perhaps one of the lesser cultural icons, but still unmistakably American in his brand of music. And so, yes, I couldn't leave Frank Zappa off the list. I did when the list was 25, but with broadening the list up to 50, there was no excuse for leaving him off the list. Now, this next artist is one that I would have left off the list, except because I'm just not much of a punk fan. But then, as I said, I wanted to include a representation of just about every genre and major subgenre of music as I could. So I decided, when we're talking American music, I really couldn't leave punk music off the list. So I had to include the Ramones. Yes, I mean, pretty much every punk act that I could think of is British. The Clash is British, and now I can't think of the other ones I was going to think of, but yeah. So yeah, the Ramones were basically it. They were the first, at least. So I figured, being the pioneers, they had to be on the list. So yes, I don't know much else to say about them, but yeah, they were the ones that kind of brought punk to into the American mainstream. They really uh, had the first real success of a punk act. Everything else before that was pretty much underground and just focused on popular to a very small group of people. And the Ramones, plus the Clash and other British artists, of course, as well, contributed to punk becoming gaining broader attention in music mainstream. So next up is the third. Actually, I thought it was only the second, but the third artist who's has ties, and this one's probably the strongest ties to movie music. And yes, this is one that was primarily my choice. This is my list. John Williams. Yes, For those of you who know me, you knew this was coming, right? I mean, he is born and raised in the USA, born in New York City. Plus, when you think about it, I mean, first of all, think about how much his music is listened to, both when you take into account both when people listen to it on albums and when they play the movies. They hear the music when the movie is going. So, listening hours, think about that. Plus, I think another thing that to me justifies his placement on this list is he wrote the themes for two of America's 20th century folk heroes, Superman and Indiana Jones. So now tell me that he doesn't belong on this list. Case closed. Court is adjourned. Anyway, moving on with the list. I could, you know me, I could talk about John Williams forever. Moving on with this list, another country icon. I could not leave this guy off the list because I have become very partial to his music. A guy who does not listen to much country owns probably 15 of this guy's albums. Willie Nelson. I mean, this guy. Let's face it, this guy transcends genres. I mean, he is kind of like Johnny Cash does, and Frank Sinatra. Just he's just a part and parcel of American music. You can't have American music without Willie Nelson, in my opinion. But yes, this is his album, Always on My Mind, the title track, of course. But I mean, just look at his catalog of songs, his hit recordings. I mean, it goes on for miles. He's still making music today, deep into his 80s, and he's still got it. But yes, absolutely, Willie Nelson. There's a song list right there. I assume because I can't see the camera, but yeah, Willie Nelson could not be left off this list of American music treasures. Coming up next, another one who's he kind of straddles the line between rock and heartland rock, I guess. I thought about putting John Mellencamp on the list, but in my opinion, he wasn't quite as. This guy, I think, personifies America more than John Mellencamp, and we're talking Tom Petty. Yes, I was kind of late hopping on the Tom Petty bandwagon, but I've got 5 of his albums now, and I will definitely be seeking out more as time and money allows. But yes, again, an artist who's got a long list of hit songs and just Americana all the way. Well, Americana rock, basically. He made it to he was part of the MTV generation, but still he's got a lot of he's got roots in Americana. Definitely, or part of his sound definitely is Americana, and maybe not so much as other people, but still, Tom Petty could not be left off this list. I absolutely had to include him. Coming up next here, another one of the first 10 artists I thought of when first conceiving this list. Could not leave him off there, despite other factors not related to his music catalog. Michael Jackson. Yes, I was an 80s kid, so Michael Jackson was part and parcel of my listening during my childhood and my teenage years. Inescapable and unforgettable. Definitely part of music. And again, he's one of the artists that had a first uh, first part of his career in Motown with the Jackson Five. So that career also, that catalog, the Jackson Five catalog, is equally as vital to the American Songbook as his solo stuff, produced by Quincy Jones. So yes, could not leave him off the list. Absolutely not. Next artist on my list from the 80s, we've got a handful of ones from the 80s here. We've got Prince. Yes. How can you think of American music, the titans of American music, without thinking of Prince? Yes, definitely he brought funk back to music when it had been missing since probably since the early 70s. Kind of arguably went out with Sly and the Family Stone and the disco movement. It kind of went dormant, and in a way, with a different twist, Prince kind of brought it back. At least brought the attitude, the funk attitude, back to American music, and definitely blended R&B and soul and other genres in with it as well. Yes, Prince is a true American original. Could not leave him off this list. Next up, here we have, and when I think of, let's face it, you think of one album. When I think of a list of quintessentially American artists, how can you not think of Bruce Springsteen? Come on. And especially this album, Born in the USA. The title of this album was one of the necessary criteria for this list. So how can you not leave him off the list? But yes, Springsteen has had a career since the 70s. This was his commercial peak. And he's still going strong today. He is an American original, an American icon, an American treasure, an American fill in the blank. Many other nouns apply. That yes, his place in music, in American folklore, even is well established. And yes, so many hits just off this album: "Glory Days," "Dancing in the Dark," "I'm on Fire," "My Hometown," and of course the title track. And I've got several other of his albums, working on a complete collection, by the way. So anyway, yes, Springsteen, absolutely an essential, could not leave off the list, part of this list. Next up, another artist I could not, another artist from the 80s that I could not leave off this list, Madonna. I mean, talk about somebody who had buckets of hits, who kept reinventing herself, reinventing her image over the decades. She's still making music, not nearly as iconic status now as she was back then, but still, who would have thought? I mean, I certainly would never have imagined back in the '80s that Madonna would still be going strong in the 2020s ever, but she is, and she has kind of earned her status. And yes, this is the track listing of her debut album. I've got her first 3 or 4 albums, the arguably the best part of her career. But yes, Madonna. Just yeah, think of her track listing, and that explains why she should be on this list. And let me see, who do I want to do next? Let me go with these guys next. I got a couple of hip hop artists. Yes, I am not much into hip hop, but I could not leave off hip hop. I actually tried to search for a couple of additional hip hop artists, but I couldn't find any. Not any that really, in my opinion, hold the caliber of belonging on this list. But the first one in the list is Run DMC. They were one of the first artists to bring hip hop into the mainstream, uh, and one of the first that I don't know if one of the first, maybe, that was not gangster rap, which I cannot listen to gangster rap. I have to have the more innocuous rap music. But these guys kind of pioneered things in, they actually put rock instrumentation and rock beats, well, instrumentation more than beats, behind their vocals. It used to be pretty much all samples before them. They're not the first hip hop act. There were a few before them, but they used, kind of samples and scratches and that kind of thing. Run DMC was one of the first, perhaps the first, to put rock music, guitars, and that kind of thing under their voices. So yeah, that kind of pioneers in a way that kind of endears me to them. Being a fan of real, true hip hop, you know, I kind of have to try and find, back roads into appreciating certain genres. So, and Run DMC are kind of doing that for me. Uh, Thinking about getting individual albums of theirs, but I haven't yet. But yeah, King of Rock, Walk This Way, of course. Their collaboration with Aerosmith definitely puts them on the list. That helped bring more attention to hip hop in the mainstream. What was the other one? My Adidas was pretty. You Talk Too Much. Rockbox, that was the other one I was looking for. So yeah, excuse me. So yeah, great. A great addition to this list. Obviously, another hip hop artist that I could not leave off the list, the Beastie Boys. I've actually just recently started appreciating them more and more. Just picked this album up last year, 2 years ago. Up until then, I had only had their greatest hits album. But yeah, there's just something about them, and something quintessentially American about them. They don't do the rock stuff. Well, maybe they do actually. I was going to say as much as Run DMC, but yeah, as I said, their influence and their popularity, I couldn't leave them out of the hip hop roster of artists on this list. Beastie Boys definitely earned a spot here. And coming up next is another artist, actually, now that I think of it, who had 2 phases to his career, kind of like Diana Ross and Michael Jackson had, and that is Paul Simon. He first had a career in the '60s with Art Garfunkel, one of the great folk pop duos of the '60s. So just for that, Paul Simon belongs on this list. But also his work in the '80s, his solo work, bringing African rhythms into popular music with his album Graceland. That was a seminal moment in popular music. In my opinion, anybody who tries to bring world music into popular music scores points with me. Just to kind of to help America. Let's face it, a notoriously xenophobic nation in a way. Um, to bring Americans' attention to other parts of the world, other cultures, things about other parts, other cultures, music, food, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway, so suffice to say, Paul Simon has earned his spot on this list. Definitely. My sister loved this album. This was in her collection. And I kind of developed my appreciation for Paul Simon from there. So My voice is starting to fail me, so hopefully it will last through the rest of this video. There's only about 7 other artists to go, so we're almost done. Next one coming up here, and yes, I had to include this one. I'm getting ready for the eyes to roll here. Weird Al Yankovic. I mean, come on. He is a pop culture icon. Okay, he wasn't innovative. He pretty much stole his act from all the other artists. But let's face it, when you make the career 40-year career out of music parody and pastiche, then you've obviously got something on your side. You've obviously got a talent for it. And he's had the same band members for the entire time. And they have, I've seen them live on stage several times, and they play their music live. So when you think about it, all the music that they recreate from all the artists that they parody, his band deserves way more credit than it's ever gotten for being musical chameleons and talented instrumentalists that they are. So trust me on this. I've seen him live a few times, and they are just amazing. His band is amazing. And so, yes, when I say Weird Al Yankovic, I'm giving kudos to the entire band. But yes, not only has he been a vital part of my life for 40 plus years, I think he's been a vital part of American pop culture for that long. No, he hasn't contributed artistic originality, but he's contributed humor and laughs many times when I needed them the most. So for that, he's on my list. Fight me, okay? Next up, going quite naturally flowing from Weird Al Yankovic to Metallica. Yes, they kind of, in a way, they brought metal music to the mainstream. At least, thrash metal and speed metal, whichever genre. I guess they are more thrash metal than speed metal. But otherwise, before Metallica came along, it was the hair metal genre, which isn't really heavy metal. Let's face it. Although I guess maybe Black Sabbath did. So I don't know. I'd be going off on a tangent here, but anyway, suffice to say, Metallica, their name recognition, they may not have had the chart success that a lot of the other acts here have had, but despite that, their popularity is very high. I absolutely love this album. This is the album where they paired with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra for their backing band, and did a lot of great songs. It's just fantastic stuff. If you have not listened to this album, you gotta listen to it. But yeah, Metallica, just for being part of American pop culture. Chart success, not really. Sales figures, probably. They've had some of the best selling albums of all time, especially in the metal genre. So, yeah, I think they are worthy of this list, especially since that is pretty much my only representation of metal on this list. So there you go. And we are moving into the 90s, or we are well in the 90s now. And when you think of 90s, you think grunge. Nirvana, they were basically the standard bearers of grunge music. They didn't have as long of a recording career as some other grunge acts, and again, not really their fault. Rest in peace, Kurt Cobain. But yeah, you gotta hand the influence award to them. They influenced a whole lot of genres of artists, perhaps to the point of forming a glut of grunge by the mid '90s. It was just absolutely saturating the market. And of course, as the major label music industry is wont to do, they will beat a horse dead to the ground. But still, Nirvana was basically pioneers of the genre, and so they deserve definite recognition for being an indispensable part of American music's DNA. Absolutely, positively. And again, moving quite naturally from Nirvana to Mariah Carey. She was one that I was not sure. She was kind of on the bubble for a while because maybe she doesn't break a whole lot of ground in the type of music that she does, but that vocal range, that multi-octave range, I don't know how her vocal cords don't explode when she hits those high notes. But yeah, she was a hit machine especially back in the '90s. It was late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, 1990 was her debut album. But yeah, especially those first 3 or 4 albums, fantastic, one hit after another. And I thought about having Whitney Houston on the list instead of her, but I figured, I just kind of, I just had to make a decision. I just had to kind of. This was almost a coin flip, but I figured Mariah Carey's influence was a little bit more. She was a little bit more unique than Whitney Houston. I do actually. I think I like Whitney Houston just a little bit more, but still, I love them both. Next up, another artist that this was, I think, the last one I included on the list. I almost, or no, Wendy Carlos was the last one. This was the next to last one. I almost forgot about these guys, and you could argue that they maybe aren't worthy of the list, or not unique enough, or groundbreaking enough to be on the list. But I thought they were the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, they are a uniquely American group. Uh, they kind of, the slap bass that Flea plays. Um, Pretty much it was kind of unheard of before the Chili Peppers, and of course Anthony Kiedis does his half rap, half singing lyrics half the time. So it's in a way they're kind of a quasi hip hop act as well. So I guess I have a little bit more hip hop representation on this list than usual. But yes, they do have a very unique style. I thought it was unique enough to put them on this list. And yes, I do have four of their albums, 3 or 4. But yeah, do enjoy them quite a bit. And so I thought, yeah, go ahead and put them on my list of 50 great quintessentially American music acts. Next up, we're moving into the new millennium, pretty much. This is right about at the Y2K. This guy, I just recently began listening to him and started kind of appreciating. Well, I've heard his singles over the years and thought they were pretty good. His delivery I kind of like, but I never checked out his stuff until just recently. Eminem. And yes, this is all I have of his is his greatest hits album. But yeah, unmistakably one of the most successful artists of the very end of the 20th century and the 21st century. Yes, not without his controversy, of course, but then how many artists are without controversy when you think about it? So yes, I figured he was definitely worthy of putting on this list. Stan, Lose Yourself, um, The Real Slim Shady, and yeah, Just Lose It, and probably many other hits, chart success, sales figures, all that stuff. I think makes him worthy to be on the list. Next up was the first of the last 2 acts on this list, 21st century acts. I really wanted to make some representation of 21st century artists, except I don't have several of them that arguably would be worthier of this list than this artist, perhaps. Lady Gaga. Yes. Spoiler alert: I don't have Kendrick Lamar albums or Beyonce albums, so they were for that reason they were not eligible for this list. I have just not been able to get into those artists. Maybe at some point I will, and might have to revise this list. But then again, there won't be another 250th anniversary of the country. So anyway, but yes, Lady Gaga, huge part of American pop culture, massive hits in her discography. So in lieu of not being a listener of Kendrick or Beyonce, and we're not even going to mention Kanye West. Thank you very much. Lady Gaga was it, so had to put her on the list. And you probably know who this last artist is going to be. The most popular artist of the 21st century so far, Taylor Swift. Yes, I mean the most quintessentially American artist of the last 250 years. How can you not have Taylor Swift on the list, whether you like her or not? Let's face it. But I do like her. I like some of her stuff. I only have like 3 of her albums. Uh, but yeah, most of her stuff just doesn't speak to me much. But I've got these few albums that I do rather enjoy. But yes, love her or hate her, Taylor Swift has made a massive impact on American popular music in the 21st century and pop culture as a whole. So yes, so that is my list of the quintessentially American music acts of all time. Fight me. Give me who would you have taken off this list and who would be on the list in place of them. Let me know in the comments section. Let me have it. I did not want to. I didn't make this list to start controversy. This is actually my feelings for this list, based on my musical tastes and a balance of my musical tastes and what I really think American pop culture, American music is representative of. But yes, I am satisfied with this list. I have no regrets on it, except possibly future me might have regrets if I happened to develop a taste for Kendrick Lamar or Beyonce. I have tried Beyonce's music, and I've just not been well. I've tried Kendrick's music too. Tried to Pimp a Butterfly, couldn't get into it, and tried. Did I try Lemonade? I know I tried Cowboy Carter, couldn't get into it. So, but perhaps that'll happen in the future. But anyway, at the risk of avoiding making this video any longer, drop me your comments in the comment section below. I would love to hear how you would make this list different, what you would change about it, and what you think of it. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. Be sure to like it if you like it. And before you go, drop me some feedback in the comment section. As I said, I would love to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon to catch my future videos, and hit my username to browse my old videos. Links to my socials and my favorite fellow YouTubers are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and remember, life's too short to be a music snob.